So back-end margin levers, there are 4 of them. Of a larger list of 151, but the 4 most important are controlling labor, materials, variations, and subtrades. But variations, they are and can be your worst nightmare or your biggest profit zone without ripping anybody off. So that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover the ACE formula, or the ACES formula, I should say, on how to make sure that you anticipate, on how to make sure you capture, evaluate, and then systemize your variations and change orders. Marty Amos, take us away.
Most people are concerned that, one, there's some builders out there that are variations companies, and basically they go in at the lowest price, they win the job, and then they upsell the client and make all their margin on the variations. And a critical thing is to make sure that you actually have a system and a process for assessing, anticipating those variations. You've got a process to capture them, evaluate them, and also to make sure that the whole process is systemized. So one of our members, he's based in Sydney. He started his company. He was doing about 1.5 mil, just him and 2 others. Now he's at 8.5 mil. He's got a contracts administrator, project manager, in-house QS, estimator, and he's able to just focus in his lane. And a big part, so he actually did a training for all our members, was on his project management. And typically he will land a job at 22 to 23%, and the job will come out around the 26 to 27% margin because he has a brilliant system for capturing all the variations, how they're framed up with the client, invoicing them every week and getting them signed off.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So when we don't have a variations process, we can get to the end of a job and they can be nightmares. We can be like, oh shit,
arguments with the client,
yeah,
legal action, delayments in progress payments.
Yeah, and you ultimately end up wearing them. Like I've heard horror stories of getting to the end of projects where members have then, previously gone, hey, here's a bill for 90 grand.
Yeah.
Sometimes like crazy stuff. And the client's like, what are you talking about? And then they go, well, it was a variation. I just didn't invoice you at the time.
I thought that was included.
Exactly. Absolute nightmare. So we need to dial this process in place so that A, you don't lose money, and B, you can protect your profits, and then C, you can actually increase your margins through a project by just having a good method to not be wasteful with people's time and money.
Because if you don't, these are one of the biggest profit leakages, and if you haven't got signed approvals, leads to client disputes, you're forgetting to include the admin time and pricing. So you want to frame it up that, hey, we're happy to go ahead with any variations or change orders. Here's what your contract includes. Here's what it excludes. This is the scope of works. Make sure that your foreman understands and knows the inclusions and the exclusions as well. We're happy to do it. Here's the process for how it gets done. 1, you let us know what it is. 2, we price it up. 3, it gets signed off. And 4, we invoice it to you each week.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so let's get into the ACES formula and framework. Are you a business owner running a residential construction company? If so, save the date. On Thursday and Friday, May the 22nd and the 23rd, we're running our Builders Summit at the Park Hyatt in Auckland. It's the biggest business summit for building company owners in the country. Across 11 expert sessions, we'll show you exactly how to either tweak or overhaul and transform your business into a profitable, streamlined building company. You'll get access to breakthrough strategies that have already helped over 3,000 of our residential members grow their businesses. Plus, just by being in the room, you get over $2,500 in extra bonus resources that you can implement into your business. We've got 100 seats. Many of those are reserved for our members, but you might be able to claim one of the few remaining. What you need to do is go to www.builderssummit.co.nz or click the links below and we'll take you directly there. So A stands for anticipate. We've got to plan for variations before they occur. We want to make sure that people actually know what constitutes a variation or a change order. So that means both the foreman or the project manager and the client, what's included and what's excluded in the plans. If we don't do this, then we miss them. We end up doing work for free. The client doesn't even think that we're a good guy because they just assumed it was part of the project anyway.
Exactly.
So there's no law of reciprocity, like, hey, I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine. They just think they're getting what they expected.
Yeah, and quite often because the foreman or the superintendent is in the client's home the whole time, they want the project to go as smoothly as possible. They're quite accommodating to the clients. I know this from having builders in our house. and us asking for changes and the foreman being like, yeah, sweet, I'll go ahead and do that. And then I've had to go, are you sure Dougal's going to be happy with that? Is that part?
Exactly. So anticipation, it's all about making sure that the client knows what constitutes one, and so does the foreman. And then the next part is C, capture. So we make sure that there's actually a process for capturing them and getting them signed off before they are proceeded with. And there's a bunch of stuff that we can do here. So we can make sure that the client actually knows that there's a administration fee associated with the variation, with the change order, whether or not it proceeds at all. So Ross in Ontario and Landon in Gulfport as well added their admin clauses for charging $200 to $300 for pricing variations out, and making sure that they weren't just pricing a bunch of variations, that were actually then never going to go through and be signed off. So we want to make sure that we even capture these things at the very beginning, and they don't cascade into the oblivion.
I'm going to ask you the hardest question of the day. Where's Gulfport?
Down on south of the US.
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Yeah,
I love it.
I can find it on a map if you want me to.
Perfect.
Can't remember what state it's in though.
All right. Now, capture. So once you've captured, this is critical to document it. Everything needs to go through the office. It gets signed off. There's a weekly meeting with clients for invoice and variations. It gets invoiced out, and so there's no nasty surprises at the end of the project. So standard variation form and regular client meetings, and you can also all do this through any project management software like Buildertrend that you might have. Oh, it's in hurricane season.
Just out of New Orleans.
Louisiana. Perfect.
Yeah.
You been there?
Nice spot. Mississippi. It's actually in Mississippi.
Can you spell Mississippi?
No, I can't.
MISSIPPI.
Oh,
it's
what
very easy.
It's like spelling receipt.
It's like what,
before you accept after C.
Exactly. It's like one of those nursery rhymes from school.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Back to the ACES.
ACES formula. So we've anticipated, we've captured. We now need to evaluate. So as I was saying before, we might have an administration fee associated with this, but making sure that we're pricing for profit rather than to win the job. You've already won the job. They're either going to do it or they're not going to do it.
Does that mean I can charge my variations at a much higher margin?
Yes, it does.
Potentially.
Ultimately, yeah. It's a profit zone, and it's actually not even a higher margin because there's so much work involved in sometimes doing a variation and so much extra risk and liability associated with it because you're now having team on site for many days longer potentially. Just moving that PowerPoint isn't just moving that PowerPoint. You're going to have the fencing up, the health and safety board
scaffolding, contract works, insurance, etc. So you want to make sure that if the project goes another 6 weeks, have you actually accounted for that?
Exactly.
The variations.
You got to get the plasterer back in, the painter back in. It's not as easy as just moving the PowerPoint.
No.
Yeah. So once we've evaluated it, we want to systemize it. So every project needs to have a system around it. And then what we want to do with your variations process is get it absolutely bulletproof. It needs to be mapped, it needs to be on the wall, it needs to be trained with the guys as they're being onboarded. It needs to be reviewed and done as a training with the guys quarterly or annually to make sure that they understand it, and at the end of every project. And then again, you might even incentivize some of the guys around variations to make sure that they are on the same page in terms of aligning as to why they're so important and why they should be captured. Because if nothing else, it's a way to avoid losing money as much as a way to make some extra money. But you will make more money by capturing them and following a process than you will by charging for them. So make sure that you aren't having unforced errors to begin with. Best way to do that is to map it all out, systemize it into a roadmap, print it, have it up on the walls on site, train the guys on it, and do it regularly.
Too easy.
Easy peasy. Awesome. So guys, if you're wanting to go through and put the ACES framework into place for your business, then we've actually got a bit of a variations training that's a bit more comprehensive down in the show notes below. All you need to do to visit that, scroll on down, check it out, and let us know where to send the resources to. Here's to your success, and we'll see you on the next one.
Go forth and crush the day.